Namaste, Om Namah Shivaya. Today we welcome Mahakali once again in our podcast on International Shiva Tribe. So Mahakali,
Namaste.
yesterday we talked about a lot of things, ranging from spirituality to life and what thoughts are, what thought patterns are. Do you think that we can worship an idol?
No. I firmly believe that idolatry is a practice that has been done in Hinduism to separate, in my opinion, it is to separate the direct connection that we have with God, which is the source, Shiv Shakti. That is the only one that we should worship. Everything else, and that has been done in Christianity as well, because the Christian says that we should not idol, yet they are standing in front of a cross and a statue of Jesus Christ in the church every Sunday. So they are doing exactly the same thing, right? Just calling it something else. It's just because the statue is bigger, but it's still a statue. I believe that we should only give worship to the source. Doesn't mean that we should deny every other energy and every other ascended masters. I just think the true power of godliness comes from the holy source only.
So you believe the God is supreme powerful?
Yes.
So do you think God has the ability to manifest himself, herself, itself, whatever name we call it, has the capability to take avatars?
Yes, I do believe that, but not the whole source can be in one avatar, only a big part, okay, bigger than most of other humans, but it is still a part. It is not the whole, right? It's like he takes a piece of himself, certain quality, and put it in something for a certain purpose, right?
Yes.
But he cannot put his whole self, because his whole self would be unbearable for us. If we were standing in front of the whole source right now, we would melt. We could not handle that high frequency. We would not be able to.
See, the way I see it as the supreme consciousness choosing to unfold itself in that given scenario wherein it manifests itself as an avatar of some being, maybe like to take an avatar as a fish, like they say in like Sri Vishnu took an avatar of a fish and a turtle and half human, half lion. So he's taken several avatars. So, and every avatar has a purpose. So I agree with you on that. However, you do believe and agree that God has since the God is supreme powerful and the one that has created the infinite number of universes also has the ability to manifest time to time and unfold his entire energy in a limited fashion according to the understanding of the masses of that time.
Because I can answer just one thing.
Yes.
For me, it's not time to time, it's every time. That's every time what happens.
And it's every time
every single human being or entity in this world or another, it is always from God.
God is manifesting in many forms across the universe.
Yes.
Because you don't know, like this is planet Earth. So what happens on a planet which is maybe 5 billion or gazillion galaxies away from Earth, and still there's a planet. So since the universe is infinite, so is the possibility of life, infinite lives.
I think the difference here, the key difference, is the creator and the creation. The creation, every avatar, everything that is made from God, right? Even a avatar of himself, a manifestation of himself, that is creation. It is not creator.
Right.
You understand? There is only one true creator. Even when he creates someone to create something else, it's still his creation, right? So for me, all these gods, right, are creations, not creators. Even though they can create with their, of course, even this whole world was created by a creation, right?
That is right. It is the creator and not the creation.
Yes.
But then how I see it, Mahakali, is like since Creator is unlimited and infinite, and he has the potential, he has the power to manifest itself in many ways at many places at one time, right? And even in different time different time dimensions. For example, like we were talking about yesterday, like speed, speed makes a lot of difference to apparently whatever we see in this matrix. So let's say this bird that is flying by, if it happens to fly at a speed of 5,000 kilometers per hour, you might not, this bird will not exist for you, because it's going to disappear before you see it, right? So apparently when we talk about God and the supreme consciousness, I'll take an example of gold for that matter. Now, when we extract gold from the earth, like at one point of time it was not gold. So millions of years, fossil fuels, and it eventually becomes gold. And then once it becomes gold, then the ornament designer, he turns it into an ornament or some jewelry. Still, it is gold. So it transforms, it manifests and unfolds itself in a certain expression. However, since it is gold, even as a jewelry, it is gold.
So no, I disagree. For me, once you make a piece of jewelry out of gold, it is not gold. It is a jewelry made out of gold. It is not gold anymore. It has been transformed, right?
Yeah, it is transformed.
So it's made out of the same thing.
But still it is
like
gold.
Everything is made out of the same thing,
but
same
does
energy.
It become a different metal?
But because of the energy and the
it
frequency,
is still that same supreme consciousness.
It is not about which metal it is. The object has changed his nature. It is not an element anymore.
Because that is
now it is an object, because a human has put their energy into making that, so it is transformed. So it is made out of gold, but it is not gold.
Interventions of environment, they bring transformation to the shape of gold, and it turns into what is perceived by human as a jewelry. To somebody it might be just like nothing, right? To someone it's a jewelry, right?
That's
for someone
delusion in that case. I don't know
so
what you mean.
Maybe for an animal it's not a jewelry, it doesn't matter to an animal.
To an animal, but we don't have the same consciousness.
That's what I'm saying. But when we're talking about supreme consciousness, we need to be our parameters need to be like on a universal scale. Right, so gold essentially
if you
remains.
Do that, you can easily get lost also.
So what my point is that gold remains gold even if it transforms into a jewelry, right? Because on a physical scale it is changing, but on as a soul of that, because as at one point of time the scientists believed that plants and many other beings do not have a soul. Then came the evolution.
They do have a soul, it's just a different level of consciousness.
Right. So maybe at another 500 years down the line, maybe the scientists believe that even the rocks have a soul.
I believe that too.
Right.
Because everything is consciousness, just like AI, just like everything is consciousness.
If we debate with a scientific fraternity, they will say no, rocks do not have a life. Okay,
I don't debate with such people usually.
So, and at one point of time they did not believe the plants have a life. Then with the evolution of science, so maybe this has been said for thousands of years in many ancient civilizations, right?
I don't think that it's been because of the evolution of science. I think the evolution of science has been doing the exact opposite, cutting us with the truth, more than right, because the science comes from the principle that matter is a real thing.
Right, because it is only dealing on the matter level.
The problem is that I understand what you're saying, but I feel like you cannot take that perspective of unity when it suits, okay? Because we are right now in a world of duality, right? So it's a good thing to see everything as united, right? Good, but it is unrealistic because we are living in a duality universe. One cannot exist without the other. We cannot make it all perfect.
So
it's not
coexist.
possible.
Right. Via this matrix, we are able to experience this universe.
What?
Via this matrix, while we are right now, we are actually living in this matrix.
Yes, there is many different matrix. Which matrix are you talking about?
It's one matrix
the false matrix.
appearing as many.
The false matrix, because there is different kind of matrix, yeah?
So we are using machines, we are using technology to do this podcast. but at the same time, since we are connected with that higher purpose, so we are in the matrix, but we are able to transcend into the higher self. Right?
Yes, and there is nothing wrong. The
Nothing
matrix.
wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with.
Because that is also a part of the game, right?
Exactly, and as
Right.
long as they are used as tools and not as divine, you know what I mean? Because that's the problem that we have today, is that we see material things as our new God. This is what we are focused on. This is what we are making it important. This is what we are making our whole reality around, physical, materialistic things.
Do you know that for that instance, like modern day people may laugh at this, but then in India it is said that Sri Vishnu's, he has a chakra. It's a weapon, it's like a grinder on his like right hand. So he's got a grinder. It's known as Sri Vishnu's chakra.
Okay.
So it's like a grinder wheel. So it's, although it's a weapon, but it's a sentient being. That weapon is also a sentient being. It has consciousness like the artificial intelligence. It has the ability to determine the good and the evil, and it only fight again. It only.
As I told you before, I think everything is. So,
So
yes.
it slays only the demons. Vishnu's chakra. So it's not like Vishnu has to go, Shri Vishnu has to give a command every time. The chakra is also described as a sentient entity or a being. So that is the level of this universal spiritualism which is there, that we see that divine being in whatever which is apparently looking lifeless to us is also has a form of life.
I
Because
agree with that.
the moment something comes into an expression, see, why are we able to drive a car? Because it is pure iron and plastic put together to take such a form which aligns with you to make a movement. Now with this car I can maybe kill a person, and with this car I can also maybe do something great. So that is like the actions that I choose. Now which defines like whether I live in the matrix, and somebody goes to drives a car and he goes help somebody, so that means like he's following the principle of nature, right, to help people. But somebody goes out and kills somebody in a car, that is like he is living in the matrix, right, driven by he's not driving the car, his ego is driving that car. And so that is the point. When you so it is there.
I'm not sure what the point is.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that objects can be useful, and the problem is that we should not idolate those objects. We should not put them as they are just tools.
So these idols,
we should not be attached to them.
Now see, it is never said in Sanatana Dharma to stay attached to the idols either. Do you know that?
Yes, but that's what people do.
That's individual choice. Okay, that is not what the philosophy teaches you.
No, but it has been put that way from generation to generation.
That is generational trauma. This is God, you need to believe Him, and this is what it is. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's
so
the way
you learn,
it is.
you embrace it, and you align with it. You learn it, and then you find out what is true. And that at one point of time, you will have your own version of truth, because we all have our own version of truth, and then there is this ultimate truth, which is like even if we exist or not, that exists for sure, right? That one truth, which is the the supreme consciousness.
The problem in that thinking is that you think that as it is right now, everybody's got the truth. The problem is that I disagree with that. I think that every soul has got the truth. The problem is that most humans today do not live out of their soul, but out of their ego.
Right.
So their truth is actually social conditioning, ego, trauma. It is not truth.
This prapancha is designed to hide the truth from us. The systems, everything is designed to hide.
Exactly, and we are supposed to wake
Yes.
up from it.
You have to
not
wake up from it
perpetuate the same
and navigate
thing
while
again
living
and
in
again.
it, and navigate through it while living in it, and eventually overcome it, right? So we live in the matrix, right? Like right now, this moment is also happening in the matrix via the tools given by the matrix. But then, so we live in it, and while we rise above it at the same time, right? So we elevate our level so that we can elevate the level of others as well. But that happens when we realize that we are in this matrix and not in this matrix at the same time. So, for instance, when I talk about the idols, so it is not advised to worship the idols, but to when you see those idols, it helps you to connect with the ethics and values of those great sentient beings.
You don't need to worship to do that.
Yeah. So you when you connect with them, you worship those idols, that righteousness. So basically, you're not worshiping a man or a woman. You're worshiping those fundamental values to run the universe.
I don't
Right?
agree.
Because God is a reflection of those values.
Yes. So why would you worship the values instead of worshiping God?
Yeah. So
Since it comes from Him, why would you
Yeah.
bypass? When you have a direct connection, why do you want to give your energy and worship to a creation of His? Even if it has good values, it's still a creation. So it makes no sense, and it's also illusion. You have to understand that everything that comes from God, that is not the source, right? The source splits in first two, right? Which creates duality, Shiva and Shakti, right? This is illusion, because in truth, Shiva and Shakti is Shiv Shakti, the source, right? But when it comes and separates and becomes duality, this is already all illusion. So everything that comes from there is illusion. It is not true. It is just there to teach us, to show us something. We should not be attached to any of the creation, because that is not reality. We should be only attached to the source. And that's what I keep trying to explain to people. If you dilute your worship, and if you dilute your focus on all pieces of creation, the car, the phone, the camera, this God, this God, this God, this God, you are scattered. And the only thing that's real in this life is you and God, the source. Everybody else is just illusory reflections of you, and ultimately God. Right? So this is very important. This is a very important part of the spiritual awakening right now, is that we need to work on our connection to the source, because that's what religion has been doing for thousands and thousands of years, scattering us, dividing us. And the more we do that, because once you want to worship one God, someone else that's going to disagree with that is going to be fighting with you. If we all are connected to the source, there is no more dividing. Then we can talk about unity. But as long as we keep being scattered, we can't do that. That's what we've been doing for thousands of years, and look where we are now. We have to learn from the past. We have to learn from the state of the world right now.
So what you're doing is you are
refocusing.
Yeah. So what you're saying are the exact sayings of the Advaita Vedanta, which is the
I don't know. Yeah,
I'll translate that for you. The non-dual doctrine of the Upanishads, which are a section of the Vedas. It is derived out of the Vedas. So this is the principle of non-duality, and seeing the supreme being in the entire cosmos, all throughout. From matter to to the particle. So seeing supreme being from electron to this entire everything that is visible, in the living and the apparently dead.
But so where was the link with what I said?
So this is what you're proposing. However, when you say that idols should not be worshipped, because if I tell you from the point of view of Sanatana Dharma, there are several philosophies that run parallelly. Unlike in other organized religions, Sanatana Dharma is not an organized religion. So it's a collection of vast philosophies of different kinds, and you navigate along with all of them. It's because this is where this is the land of knowledge, land of ancient wisdom. So these have been for thousands of years and millions of years. Ascetics and the yogis in India have been practicing on working out how to find out God, and identifying the symptoms of now that you know the God, now I'm in that state that I understand the supreme being and I'm able to connect with it. So several ways have been prescribed. Even then, it is also said very strongly, it has been advocated that despite of the fact there are several ways to connect with the supreme being, is one of them is via knowledge. Once a person who focuses purely on attaining knowledge is working towards connecting with supreme being, because that is the path. It is known as the Jnana Marga, which means path of knowledge.
So can I answer this? Just this point?
Yes.
So for me, I would reject that thinking. I tell you why. Because as long as you seek for more knowledge, that is coming from the ego. You already have all the knowledge inside of you. The only work we have to do is not seeking knowledge, it's seeking inner knowledge. So not studying anything. Me personally, I have not read any of them, any of the books. And still, when I speak, people tell me, oh, that's written in the Gita, oh, that's written in the Bible, oh, that's written in the Quran. So we already have everything.
See, the Upanishad is eventually talking about your inner knowledge only. It is asking you to always look back into yourself. It keeps reminding you.
That so for this, we should not be following what has been done and what has been taught.
It tells you, read, like don't stop yourself from reading, but also do not stop yourself from contemplating. Do not stop yourself from, finding your own meaning of your own purpose, your own relationship, and your understanding of God.
Hinduism at its core is teaching people not to idolate and not to worship.
Yeah, at the same time,
so
it is
still people have been doing that. Same in Christianity, same thing.
Yeah. Now there's another path to attain supreme consciousness, which is also recommended. So there are several paths are recommended, which I'm going to discuss like all of them. But at the same time, it strongly advocates that that you still, despite of the fact these paths can be useful, but may not necessarily lead you to God.
Everything leads you to God.
Everything.
There is no choice. Everything, even every demon will be led to God eventually.
You have to go through those karmic cycles.
Exactly.
That it tells you.
So
but it says like, that it will not necessarily lead you, because you might have, at one point, you will have to figure out your own path. Right, and you will develop your own meaning, your own relationship, your own understanding of what Supreme Being is.
And that is what every ascended masters has been doing. Even Jesus, he studied the Gita.
You that, but at the same time, it also tells you there are several paths to it which could be helpful, but may not necessarily help you. It has been clearly said in the Upanishads that these are the practices which have been followed by great sages for thousands of years. So you follow these, you try this. This is one life that you have got over here right now. Live in this present, even though you know that there are multiple lives, but also make the best of it. For that, do not stop yourself from reading, but also at any cost, you need to continue to contemplate and develop your own relationship with God. That is when you're actually truly going to realize you explore what is supreme consciousness is. So that refers back to non-duality and the concept of one universal God,
and
like the Shiva Shakti.
As Buddha said, you should doubt all scriptures, all teaching, everything you should doubt it.
Yes.
Because everything has been, this is what the false masters have been doing, taking those teaching and twisting them and scattering us. This is what religion has been doing all over the world, separating us from each other.
A lot of learnings of Buddha were from the Vedic wisdom. And also when he says that, see it with doubt, it has also been prescribed in a lot of ancient texts that, as I just said, that, you try to follow this path and this path, but also figure out your own one. Because maybe even the creator of this universe also might not know who has created. So it's that vicious. So it's like it's your own path eventually. However, certain paths have been prescribed by the great ones, because they are the results of like thousands of years of documentation, but they also tell you that do not stick to it. Just this may lead you, like for example, you want to reach to that destination, there are several ways to go there, but
there is as many ways as there is souls.
But then you can always find out your own
but
way.
All the ways will take you there. Some will be longer than others, but it will always take you there.
So sometimes we think that if I go to this place using this expressway, I will reach in time. Most of the times you will reach in time, but one day what if there is a some blockage on the highway, and so basically nothing guarantees the destination. Nothing guarantees a destination.
Yes,
no path.
I don't agree also with that.
Right. So it's your own.
I think it's guaranteed already. I think it's already guaranteed. Everything is already done.
What I mean to say,
time is illusion.
The practices don't guarantee that. What I'm trying to say. The practices don't guarantee that.
Actually, practices scatters you.
Right.
I don't do any practices.
And when you.
I don't do any practices. I meditate, and not as much as I should. Right, well, but I already understand.
Meditation is also a practice.
Yes, but every practice comes from ego. it all comes from ego. Okay? Because you cannot seek for something that you already have. Once you remember that you already have it, why would you seek for more? Why would you do search for something that you already have?
Right. So when it is the inner knowledge, so eventually it was always there within you.
Exactly.
Right.
So the goal is not to become more spiritual or more knowledgeable. The goal is to remember who you truly are.
Yes.
And for that, you need to realize that everything around you is illusion. Because you cannot remember who you truly are if you are thinking this is who you are.
And that is what the Upanishad suggests you. It keeps repeating that, know yourself, know yourself. Every time it reminds you, know yourself. Know
Yes,
yourself,
but people misunderstand it.
Yeah, know yourself and you will know the God. It says Pragyanam Brahma, means Pragyanam means knowing yourself. Brahma means the Supreme Consciousness. When you know yourself, you understand the Supreme Consciousness. You become one with it and you start to align, and eventually you become one with it, and you just don't realize. You disappear. Like you become, your light becomes that light. So this drop also becomes the ocean, because once it's a part of it. And since even when it was separated from each other, because it's a cycle, right? So like the water evaporates, it goes to clouds, it comes back. So it was always like, it had its own
cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It has its DNA in it. It's attached to it, and and it's attached but not detached. So that is what we need to learn from nature. So nature allows the life to happen, and it does not detach. When death happens, nature is like, it just naturally accepts it. And then our bodies, like for example, we get burned and turned into 5 elements. The ashes are thrown into rivers. Ashes are put into the river, and then the river takes your DNA, and that water flows. Millions of people drink it. So this collective knowledge which is flowing around, and that is the Supreme Consciousness only. It's that pure intelligence is flowing in the 5 elements.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. There we found something we agree on.
So today was a wonderful conversation with you.
Thank you.
And we're going to come up with another show with Mahakali most likely very soon. If you guys have a suggestion for a topic, you can write it down in the comment section. And I hope you liked it. And if you liked it, go ahead and share it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namo Narayan.